That down. We got a bunch of things we got to talk about and a lot to get through. So let's get things started with this. Clearly the poster child, the pride of the NFL is Deshaun Watson. If there's anything that holds up the banner of ethics and honor and makes your league look good, it's got to be Deshaun Watson, right?
Sensing sarcasm here.
maybe a little bit. So again, another black eye on the NFL. Of course, you guys remember a couple years ago, Deshaun Watson faced like 20 lawsuits about sexual harassment and sexual assault because he liked his private masseuses. He liked them. He liked giving a little tug and a squeeze, apparently. Is what he liked, at least according to the things. Now, he settled most of those. There's still one or two ongoing, I think, of those cases, but he settled most of them. Well, there's another one that came out that Deshaun Watson has now paid out. In legal terms, settled. The NFL website is saying Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson settles latest lawsuit. Latest, not the last. The latest lawsuit brought by a woman alleging sexual assault. Be optimistic. They wrote this is from AP. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson has resolved the latest civil lawsuit filed against him by a woman claiming sexual assault and battery. The plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, said in a text message to the Associated Press on Monday that his client's claim against Watson has been settled confidentially. Now, basically what that means in plain English is Deshaun Watson took out his checkbook and wrote a big check. And in exchange for writing that big check, Busby's client is dropping the matter. So that's it. Busby, the lawyer for the woman, had threatened to have his client speak to the NFL. His client and what he says were two witnesses. Threatened to have his client and two witnesses speak to the NFL, which had opened an investigation against Watson. It's not yet known if Watson will face any further discipline from the league. Now, this is key. Like, aside from the fact that here we go again, NFL players' behavior, casting a bad light and putting a black eye on the league and the sport. But this is why settling was so important to him. Because if indeed Busby got his client and what they said were two witnesses and took them to the NFL, and the NFL kept its investigation open, if they found stuff, if the NFL found stuff, that could give Cleveland an out, an excuse, a legal loophole to void their contract with him. Now, we're going to talk about Deshaun Watson and his contract again in a minute here, but let's focus on the issue at hand. So he settles yet another one. I've lost count of how many this is he's had to settle.
I think there's two still active.
There's two still active. There's two that refuse to settle. So we'll see that. So that drama is still ongoing. We'll see what's going to happen there. But I mean, Ryan, this is, again, like, it seems like we can't go a year, like a season, without there being some kind of story about an NFL player acting and behaving badly. So, but again, look, he already went through 20 of them. Is this one really going to make any difference, or people just going to see the headline and then forget about
I think this is still that same time period probably when all these other things were happening. So, Cleveland knew all this and still traded for him.
Well, I think this one came after that. I think this one came after that, yeah.
I mean, it's a history of this stuff happening. So, but yeah, I think the Browns were hoping so they can get out of this contract. But like you said, if everything's confidential, NFL can't do another investigation. They can't suspend him for that stuff. So they're on the hook for $95 million guaranteed money still.
Yeah, it might be even more than that. Now, listen, the NFL can still suspend him. I mean, like, the commissioner has the commissioner's exemption, right? Where the commissioner can, at his discretion, suspend somebody, but, you'd want it to go through. And I think traditionally speaking, the NFL has been, hey, if you settle this thing in a court, then it's settled with us, sort of thing. So we'll see if anything else happens with this. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. Deshaun Watson in the headlines again for all the wrong reasons. What do you think about this? I mean, again, this is like what, number 21, 22? Is it really going to make any difference to how people perceive the situation? Maybe it will. Whatever you guys think, do us a favor and jump in the comments section and let us know what you think.